One more thing that I wanted to talk about is more about Europe, because Europe has seen this new wave of Russian provocations. There have been drones everywhere in Germany, where you live, in Denmark, shot down in Poland, obviously Russian jets in Estonia. What do you think that Europe's reaction to all of that has been? Because some people criticize it, some people praise it. What do you think kind of message is Europe sending with how we're responding to all of that?
The message that Europe is sending as a whole to Russia is, please keep doing it. I mean, that's that's what it boils down to. Please keep doing it. Now, there's been instances of the right thing being done. The French seizing one of these tankers. It's not entirely certain yet between the Danes and the French what's going on there. Finland, which is usually way in the front of everybody doing the right things, they just had a court case where the ship that probably was responsible for destroying the cables was cleared because they couldn't prove intentionality. I mean, come on. These are not civil criminal cases. This is what I mean about the mindset about being at war. If nothing else, I mean, you just hold on to it forever. I mean, don't treat this like, somebody jaywalking across the street or a misdemeanor. We're talking about criminal negligence. If it was not intentional, it was absolutely criminal negligence. So the Russians see that we're not yet willing to do anything. Now, Poland, while I think the response of sending up F-16s and F-35s was not the right response, and it revealed that we're not prepared yet, the fact is they were up immediately, and they already had the rules of engagement, which allowed them to shoot. So at least that was happening. But we don't have a uniform response and political will and political guidance yet. So the deployment of this Eastern Century by NATO should increase and thicken those defenses, if you will, heighten awareness. I think, I don't know this yet, but the long-standing Baltic Sea air policing and Black Sea air policing missions are being remissioned as air defense missions with the correct rules of engagement. If that's happened, that's exactly what should be happening. I just don't know if we've done that yet. So until we are able to inflict consequences on the Russians of some sort, then they will keep doing this, both to create instability on our side, and also, I mean, they're mapping out where is everything, what's our response time. That's what's going on.
And on the Russian jets in Estonia, I think that's a very interesting debate, because a lot of people from whom I wouldn't normally expect it were calling afterwards that the next time this happens, the jets should be shot down, or that they should have been shot down when they flew and been in 12 minutes in Estonia's airspace. But other people, including I spoke with Estonia's former Air Force chief, who said that we shouldn't do that, because doing that would be exactly what Russia would wanted us to do, because it would create distraction for NATO outside of Ukraine. What do you think should have been the right policy, and what should be the right policy for the next act? Should we have shot down the Russian jets?
Absolutely. Look, this is, if this was an isolated incident, then of course, you yell at them and do another sanction on the chief of the Russian Air Force or something and say, don't do that again. But this is in the middle of all this other stuff. And they spent 12 minutes in Estonia. I mean, Estonia, you could fly around Estonia in a jet a couple of times in 12 minutes. So I think this was a gigantic middle finger from the Russians to all of us. They have no respect for us. They have no concern. The fact that they did an operation that launched 21 drones into Poland, knowing that there are 10,000 American troops stationed in Poland, tells you that they had no fear that the U.S. might retaliate somehow or might do anything. So I think we need to, a big part of this is having your own narrative correct. I mean, you make a public case, and you've already thought through the consequences of, okay, if and when we shoot down a Russian aircraft with a pilot, you have to own the information domain immediately. because the Russians will, of course, say, "Oh, this is a NATO provocation," and et cetera, et cetera. So we need to be preparing the public for why this matters. Start making the case now, and lay out. Here's what they've been doing, and I've seen so many articles and maps showing all these things. So this has to be done in a very concerted effort, and then you communicate to the Russians and say, "Look, we're not joking around. The next time one of your aircraft comes through, we are going to seize one, two, or three of your Shadow Fleet vessels. We're going to seize them, and you'll never see them again, or the oil that's in them, for sure." And if they then do it again, then, and you say the second time, we're going to shoot down the aircraft. And we hope the pilot lands safely with his parachute. Okay, but we're going to shoot it down. And then you have to make it clear. But if we say that and then we don't do it, then you've got that's the worst.
Just a quick break here. If you care about geopolitics, and I assume you do since you're listening to this, you might want to consider signing up to get my newsletter, Station Zero. Once every week or two, you'll get a free geopolitical analysis, a story, trend, or pattern of something that's really important but that most people tend to miss. Like the one where I talk about the major threat that Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, is facing, why he's increasingly likely to be defeated in the next year's elections, why his new challenger is not at all who you would expect, and why it might be a lesson for politicians everywhere. If you want to sign up, just click the link in the description.